Now that you have gotten through a design college and this is your day one, so first of all, make friends. Make as many friends, because these friends are going to be your future colleagues, future peers in the industry. They are going to help you and you are going to help them in return, and find each other's life support in the professional arena. Professional industry is quite difficult otherwise. If you're all by yourself, you'll always need friends. You'll always need your seniors and your juniors to help you out, to even figure out things in life. Carry all your stationaries. Be equipped, and be equipped with as best as you can with your equipments, because sometimes your equipments can actually limit you in terms of your productivity, your creativity. So have your stationaries in place. Your good stationaries are going to last longer for you, be more productive for you, and it's going to help in a lot of ways. Your first few weeks are going to be very, very design fundamental oriented. A lot of thought-provoking exercises that is going to happen in one side. The other side is going to be more about skills. Remember this thing, your hand strokes, your hand drawings are always going to be helpful throughout your career. There's one more thing. Never feel that, if you are really good at some softwares, you become a designer. No, that does not work. These are just some set of tools which is going to help you in getting your creativity. If you're really good at Photoshop or Illustrator or any software, you're a Photoshop expert or an Illustrator expert. A designer is actually somebody who can actually gather up all these skill sets together and use them smartly wherever it is required, whenever it is required. So as you move towards semesters after semester, you'll see everybody around you developing their taste, their outlook. People are going to have stronger opinions about things, about visuals or about work and about individuality. And that's a great thing that you'll experience, by the time you actually pass out from college. Some really important opportunities that you get during your design studies is, there are lots of these exercises which is done as a part of the curriculum. Things like craft cluster, or you even call it craft documentation, where a group of students actually go to part of the country and then they learn the craft or the textiles of that area and they document it. They have a living experience there. They see all the process, everything. So it really counts a lot, having that craft documentation in place. Then you have various design competitions, and your college will always encourage you and will always guide you to how to shape it up for your design collection, for the competition. You will need to understand the brief, and then you need to understand the deadline. The deadline is really important here. Professional internships, where students actually get hands-on experience in the industry. Internships actually open up your eyes in the real world. It's more like you realize what the industry is all about, what you have been thinking as a design student, as opposed to what the industry really is. Sometimes there are some drastic differences, and then it's majorly an eye-opener for you. So you'll understand, how the industry works, what are the goods and the bads about the industry, and then that'll give you some real solid idea about shaping up for the industry. Sometimes it really appeals to you, and you feel like you will have an ambition to actually be a part of that industry. So why not? Internships really give you that professional edge as a student, and you'll always have that idea about deciding on what kind of industry do you really want to take up. Then there are exchange programs, where college to college exchange programs, where a set of students from one college goes to another, and it can be in different parts of the world. Then you have fashion backstages while you're students. You get to have that experience of a fashion show at the backstage level, where you get to dress up the models. So you get to be a part of that overall fashion show experience. And I think that's a great idea too. And then you get lots and lots of projects while you're a student, while you're learning, because your college is in the professional market. And then there are lots of industry professionals who are looking out, contacting your faculty, and your faculty is going to actually recommend your work if your work really outshines as compared to others. So yeah, there are lots of project opportunities that you get while you're learning. There's one book I'll highly recommend you to read while you're in your college, and I think it's going to you'll be able to connect a lot with that. And the book is called The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. It's basically a story about commercial creativity and individualistic creativity, something where you're talking about very commercial stuff and how the commercial world goes, and on the other hand there's a character who actually is going by his own principles and is totally against the conventional world, and he's fighting through it and he's living through that life, and then how he creates his own space and how the commercial designer is actually creating his own space. So if you haven't seen my previous video, which is about fashion design career tips for high school students, I think it's really important. I think you should have a look at that. In that video, I'm talking about what you need to have in you to fit the profile of a designer, other design courses you should consider, why fashion design, and professional opportunities. Stepping in as a design professional, you need to be aware of all the possible industries and opportunities in the design fraternity, or I will say even in the apparel sector if you are a fashion graduate, because you can't just have your eyes closed to one idea. I've seen most of the students having this picture about having a fashion label and having a fashion show and become somebody like Sabyasachi or Christian Dior or all these fashion show designers. But there's actually there's a bigger area of scope within the apparel industry where you can actually find your career and you can have a great life there. So yeah, but you need to be aware of that. You need to really be aware of what all happens and how the industry works. I will make a separate video about that because it actually needs that individual attention. Before we move any further, I want to check with you if you've actually checked out my video, which is about how to apply for a design job in 2020. This video talks about how to bulletproof your job application. Be very sure about what professional path that you're going to take in terms of design, as in terms of the apparel sector, because that is then going to set your career path way ahead and further. Sometimes it gets a little difficult to actually switch between one industry to the other, or even the profile from one design profile to another design profile. So the sooner you have that clarity in you, I think it's going to help you. But on the other hand, it's also a great thing that if you are open to learning the different industries in your initial years, and then that is going to help you actually decide as to where do you find yourself fitting well, because it also depends on the personality that you have. And it does not happen that just because your best friend is taking up that industry, you should also follow him or get into that, because you both have very different backgrounds, you both have very different personalities. It's just that just because your best friend is going to one place, and if you're not even aware of that industry, I don't think it makes sense for you, because sooner or later you're going to realize, and then you're just going to end up burning your fingers. Understand the design ladder in the company that you're getting employed into, so that you understand the organization structure of the entire design department. That will give you an idea about the growth that you're going to have in your possible coming future. You can plan accordingly. You can actually see what your senior is actually doing. You can see actually what your immediate senior is doing at the moment, and then you can look up to that and you can build yourself to come up to that function. That way, it is also going to create a path for you how to get into that next level. To make it simpler again, I would say that look at what your immediate senior is working at the moment on. What kind of responsibilities and roles your immediate senior is actually looking into at the moment, and try to work on getting into that domain as soon as possible, because then that is how you're going to ensure your own promotion for the next level, to reach up to that level where your immediate senior is at the moment. And that, I think that's the best way in the industry to grow, because a promotion does not really happen just like that. It's more like an inner secret which actually no one tells you, where what happens is you actually need to prove yourself that you're already doing something what your next level promotion should be. And when you start delivering around those lines, that's when you actually secure your next promotion. That's how it works, rather than doing what you're doing at the moment within your domain And if you're just doing what you're doing at the moment in your domain, and then you're not actually trying to level up in terms of your deliveries, in terms of your work, your submissions in the professional field, your promotion tends to stay stagnant. And it is something which is not mentioned anywhere, but that is how it happens. It's a secret again. This is something that I've been following my entire life, and I think this has really helped me. I'd really love to see if it applies to anybody else who's watching this video, and I'd love to have your comments in the comment section. If something like this do you really believe in? These 3 pointers which I always believe in, and it makes me excited all the time, and that is to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn. For example, that you've studied design in your college. You have abundant knowledge about what you have learned in design in your college, and then you step into the industry. And now this industry may sound like something which is very different from what you've learned. You will also hear a lot of things from many people saying that, your college does not really teach you anything. Welcome to the industry, and now you will understand and learn how it works and all that. I will say bullshit, because whatever you've learned in your college is actually the strongest ever fundamentals that you've learned for your entire life as a creative professional. And never forget that. So that's what you've learned in college. But then now that you've stepped into the professional career, you will have to kind of unlearn, be like a fresher into the industry. Every moment, every place, every professional path, you will have to kind of unlearn things and then relearn things from a different perspective, because now you have stepped in as a professional. I cannot tell you how much things have changed now, and after this entire lockdown, the concept of everything has moved totally and everything has become more unpredictable. Learning new skills will not only just make your life exciting, but it is also going to nurture your creative abilities. I'll just give you some examples about myself. When I had stepped into the industry, I was more hands-on, because during my time there was hardly any computers or any digital media that was used for fashion design. But later I realized that it is actually a very important need in the industry, and I taught myself Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, and started working on computer, and it was more self-taught. I think the best way to learn is to apply it into your work, and that ways you will actually want to learn furthermore and get your work into a higher quality. So that's what I did, and that is about almost 15 years ago when I taught myself Illustrator and Photoshop. And my flat drawings, my tech packs and everything started becoming much better. And I think it was quite around that time when everybody was learning to draw tech packs on their computers. And when I got into working more into Photoshop and exploring myself, I felt the need of learning photography. So then I bought myself a DSLR and I invested some time and I attended some workshops, and then I figured out how everything goes, because I wanted to have my own images, and I taught myself using the camera, the lightings, the settings of the camera, and in fact even the editing. So that's where I learned furthermore. In addition to Photoshop, I taught myself Lightroom, the Camera Raw plugin which is there in Photoshop itself. And that's where it just kept building up. And then later in life I felt, now I think still images are okay, I think they're quite good, but now I really need to learn how to do video making and video editing. And so recently I started exploring the camera and then furthermore and try to do videos. And this is where I am. Coming back to the topic, I'll say be a jack of all. I did not say be a master of none. When I say be a jack of all, I mean to say that there are chances of you becoming masters of many, not just one. Giving back is so important at the moment. Why? I'll tell you. Give back from what you've learned. Give back your experience to others so that they find a clear path in their growth. And again, I cannot tell you how much benefit it is going to give back to you as well. Giving back is more about sharing your own experience. For example, like how I'm sharing it with you. So giving back is more like a magical exercise that you're doing in your life, where you are touching so many people's lives. You are sharing valuable content to so many people where it is igniting ideas and inspiring people, because your knowledge and your personal experience is actually very valuable and to be shared with everybody. While you're sharing that, you also realize what all you have learned, what all you have done in your life. And I think that's a great exercise. It's just like creating your own journal, but then creating your own journal by sharing it with the world. Bonus tip number 3, find yourself a mentor. A mentor is just going to be superbly helpful in your life to, so that you can declutter all the mess and then just focus and clear up and, keep the cream of all the things that you need. A mentor is actually going to help you shape up what you actually cannot see at the moment. Everybody goes through that stage. Everybody, even me right now, within this 20 years of experience, I also have that very vague cloud of doubts and what is it going to be in my coming few years. But a mentor is always going to help you identify and shape up your path. And of course, do believe in your mentor. You can also find your mentor within your senior, one of your college senior who has been really close with you, who has helped you out. You would have helped him in the past. And that relation can also be brought up again, and you can just get in touch with one of your super seniors or your seniors who's in the industry that you desire to be in. So I'd like to know where you are as of today in your design journey. Are you applying for a design college? Are you a student at the moment learning design? Or are you a professional who has just stepped into the industry? Or are you looking out for internship? I'd love to hear from you. Please write back and let's have more communication and more interaction together like this. And I'm going to share most of your comments highlighting what you have mentioned in the next video, because I think that's how it is going to be more interactive, and I really look forward to that. I hope this video was useful to you, and if yes, I'd love it if you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon as well. And I would love to see you in